Today's episode is called Your Worth is Not Up for Negotiation. Moon in the second house feels. Do you ever feel like your self-worth is on sale at an emotional flea market? In this episode of Morning Mind Up with Trie, I'm going to dive into what it means to have your moon in the second house, where emotions and your value get all tangled up. I'm going to break it down, how this energy shows up, why you might feel insecure when your bank account dips into nothing, single digits, or when someone doesn't text back, and how to start emotionally investing in yourself. Plus, I'm going to drop 3 ways to feel emotionally rich without maxing out your credit card. So join me as I dive in now. Hey, it's your girl Trie, and welcome to Morning Mind Dump, where I spill my thoughts before coffee kicks in. Through some drunk draws of your mental mind and try to make sense of why I feel like glitter tornado one day and Zen monk the next. So this is a little confession. I've been getting deep into astrology lately, so you'll see now that occasionally I won't do it every time, but I should never say never. But anyway, I'm gonna be doing this. So, and no, not the kind that you just read your horoscope for fun while you're waiting in line or, scoping out the interwebs. I mean the juicy, introspective kind where I pull my birth chart and look at it and go, oh, that's why I'm emotionally spiraling for something so stupid, and why I'm crying about a song from my high school days. Astrology for me isn't about predicting the future. It's about rewriting the script, learning the emotional codes I came with, and figuring out how to evolve beyond them. And that's what we're doing here in Morning Mind Up. Feeling the feels, looking for signs, and making art out of our mess. So today, let's talk about one of the most vulnerable, intimate placements. It's the moon in the second house. If you got the moon in your second house, or even if you're just someone who craves comfort, consistency, or maybe panic when your bank account hits single digits, I see you, and this episode is for you. The moon represents your inner world, your gut reactions, what makes you feel safe and loved. Your second house, that's the house of value, which is money, possessions, your stuff, and even more importantly, how you value yourself. So when your moon lands in this house, it means that your emotions are tied to your sense of security, financially and personally. You might not feel okay unless your bills are paid and everyone in your life is verbally confirmed for an event or whatever, or if even they even like you. And you're wrapped in a soft blanket while drinking tea out of your favorite mug. This placement can make you super grounded, nurturing, and generous, but also deeply affected when your sense of worth is shaken. Maybe someone says something that makes you feel not enough, and suddenly your whole nervous system is in identity crisis. And I gotta be real with you. This past weekend, I kind of lived this placement loud and pretty clear. I did what every heart-led artist does. I packed my bags, I spent money I didn't really have, I showed up at a festival, poured myself out, my time, my energy, my art, and I was all in, set it up pretty, curtains and everything, and I said to myself after I set all up, I'm like, I believe this will come back to me. I believe that I was going to come home from this festival with at least what I paid, or definitely at least double that. But that didn't happen. And so I did it. Not financially. I didn't make the money I needed. Not enough to cover the bills and the fees and the gas and food. And with extra to pay for my bills, it like didn't wreck me, but it definitely put me in a different a low vibration mindset, and everybody around me knew. The people that I was talking to mostly were vendors, so they would get in the same disappointment, right? So we were just like, misery loves company always, and that. And it's okay, I guess, for a little while, but I tried to avoid the complaining sessions. Apologies for my stuffiness. Usually happens when you come back from a festival. You get something, right? No, don't say that. It's probably just allergies. So sorry I shared. This is me oversharing. Yeah. I mean, I wanted to make money not because I'm greedy, but because for someone like me with their moon in the second house, financial disappointment can feel like a personal failure. Yep. The questions come up like, am I doing something wrong? Maybe I need to reevaluate the products I'm laying out here. Like, should I just quit because I'm struggling so hard and disappointments all the time worth it? Like, why isn't this working, right? But you know what? That moment is a test, not a truth. You are not your bank account. You're not what you didn't sell. You are a soul in process. And we are all souls in process. And your worth isn't up for negotiation just because this week didn't cash out the way that you had hoped. If I've learned anything in the past couple years is expectations that we put on ourselves and other people. It's just you're setting yourself up for disappointment already. So anyway, how do we deal with all this, right? Let's get into that. So I came up with 3 ways to stop emotionally bankrupting yourself and start reinventing in your inner wealth. First one, inventory your inner worth, not just the outer work. You need to ask yourself, who am I when I'm not doing anything useful? It's not just your job, your productivity, your creativity, or how clean your living space is today. You're valuable even when you're resting. And I did a whole podcast about resting. I think it was last week. So go check that out. And yeah, and when you're messy, even when you don't feel like it. Write down 5 non material reasons why you're amazing. Once you write this down, stick it on your fridge, tattoo it on your brain, and remember the reasons why you are not your work. Now to a second way. Create safety from the inside out. Moon in the second house, folks like me, crave material security. And that's okay. But you don't have to wait for a tax return to feel safe. Start building emotional rituals. What I do all the time is try to ground myself, whether it's in the grass, downstairs when I'm feeding the furnace in the winter. I literally have my shoes off. I would say 99.7 times, 7% of the time. Anyway, grounding, journaling, I do that too, but I really don't like it doesn't make any sense. Like if anybody were to read my journal, they literally would not know. One thing that I did notice that my mom, whenever she didn't like specifically journal, like to sit there and actually write out words, sentences that make sense. She would just like randomly, and I'm like, I just realized I do that too. That's how I keep my notes. And I never look back at them, but occasionally I might, and then I can't decipher what I wrote because I don't know, was that channeling? And maybe I am, maybe I got that from my mother. And she didn't even know what the gift she had. I'm not trying to sway you towards astrology or tarot cards or anything like that. After reading about them and the history and how long it's been around and how it can be accurate sometimes. If you're like me and you're a non-believer, just do your own research. Anyway, that was a little side note. So, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, journaling. So grounding, journaling, if you want to light a candle and then breathe or sit in a yoga position and meditate, any of these things. Just let your soul be in a safe space. This way, your mood doesn't live and die by what your bank account says. And so now we're going to go on to number 3. and that is reclaim your yes. Forgo the no. Yeah, you don't have to earn your worth through overgiving. You don't have to stay in places or spaces that drain you just because you feel needed. And you can get really comfy saying no to what depletes you. Boundaries aren't walls. They're just doorways to life where you're no longer for sale. And you could quote me on that. No, but I do have a real quote for you. Your sense of self-worth comes from you, never from what you own or what others think of you. Marie Valori Fortole. I can't read, sorry. But I will keep that quote in the description of the episode. Okay, so again, my apologies, Marie. I wish I could see that rhymed. So you ask, what's today's poll? I'll tell you what today's poll is. It is, which of these emotional habits are you working on? Or if any. You're like, I don't give a shit. I'm not working on anything. Anyway, I tie my worth to how productive I am. That's one option. I people please to feel loved. That's another option. 3, I feel safe only when I have money in the bank. I know a lot of people are like that. And the 4th one is I'm learning to value myself no matter what. So please vote on my social media platforms in the comments. So let's leave this one with an affirmation because I need it. And maybe you do too. I am valuable because I exist, not because of what I earn, give, or prove. Let's just breathe that one in and let it land wherever it does. If this episode gave your inner world a cozy little sweater, please do me a favor, share it with your starry-eyed friends. Leave comment or just whisper I'm enough to yourself in the mirror. I have to remind myself to do this. I'll feel it. Promise. Remember, you are not here to prove anything. You're here to be. And what's more, that is enough. So I will catch you next week for another episode of Morning Man Down with Trie. Much love and hugs. Have a great day.